It's official. The Denver Broncos made another move, signing Elijah Moore, former Buffalo Bills wide receiver in 2025, to their practice squad, now on his fourth team in 5 NFL seasons. Moore has 209 career catches for a little over 2,000 yards, and he is the newest member of the Denver Broncos. Welcome in Broncos country to the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. Let's talk about this newest edition because there's a lot to process here when it comes to what the Denver Broncos are doing. I believe this signing is a clear indicator that the Denver Broncos believe our Super Bowl window is right now. And by stacking up the offense, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we can legitimately compete not only for a Super Bowl this year, but for the next couple of years to come. And exactly why you subscribe, my friends. Broncos news, whether it's a signing, whether it's a trade, whether it's an injury designation, doesn't matter. I've got you covered. So do me a favor, if you haven't done so already, join the large group of community members that we here at the Broncos Breakdown family. Hit that subscribe button. Help us get to our next major milestone. It should be 49,000, believe it or not, instead of 47,000. That's my bad. We are less than 200 or 300 and math, 250 away from our next milestone of 50,000 subscribers. All right, let's talk about the signing itself. Underrated. Underrated for a few reasons. Elijah Moore was on a team that didn't utilize him properly. I'm not saying Elijah Moore is a player that is going to make or break the Denver Broncos. He's clearly not. He's on his fourth team in 5 seasons. Elijah Moore is not one of those players that is going to go out there and get you 12 receptions for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. But what he does offer you is another body on the field. He's a traditional slot wide receiver and another weapon for Bo Nix. And even if he's not that weapon, because let's be completely honest, 9 games played, only 17 targets, and 9 receptions, he's only averaging 1 reception per game that he's played. But again, I don't think the Buffalo Bills utilized him properly. That is a an offense that is predicated on running the football. Josh Allen runs the ball 5 or 6 times a game. James Cook runs the ball 15-plus times a game. They don't have a true number 1 wide receiver, and they spread the ball out to a multitude of different players because they don't have that true number 1 wide receiver. They don't have a Courtland Sutton. Their number 1 is Khalil Shakir, and that's saying something. But if you go back and look at the 2024 through 2021 season since he's been drafted, he has been very consistent on what he is. A traditional slot wide receiver that can move the chains. He's not going to find the end zone. He is that body that can just get you first downs. That's what he is. He's also the picture of consistency when it comes to health, right? 2022, 16 games played. 2023 and 2024, 17 games played each season. He combines strong hands with great zone coverage spacing concepts, meaning if the team that you're going up against is playing a soft zone, Elijah Moore is going to be open 9 times out of 10. Can he do it that well in man coverage? Probably not. But that's why you primarily play him out of the slot. It's just another player that you can kind of move throughout the middle of the field or short yardage situations. And we know that Bo Nix is really, really good at throwing from 0 to about 7 yards. That's his, bread and butter. But a little bit more about Elijah Moore, drafted by the Jets in the second round of the 2021 draft. Primarily a slot wide receiver, like I said. The one weakness that he does have is that he is undersized for a traditional slot player. He's not super strong either when it comes to his physical strength. So he's not going to body off of linebackers or really strong safeties or even strong corners. He is a finesse player in the slot, but that's okay. We have strong players. Who's a strong player? Pat Bryant. Who's a strong player? Courtland Sutton. So I'm not worried whatsoever about these two. This entire group, because where Elijah Moore will fit in, and by the way, even though he is on the practice squad, he will be elevated to the 53-man roster. There's no doubt in my mind that that's going to happen. What this tells me is that the Denver Broncos are stacking up the offense. I know. Why wasn't it a running back? We need to attack the running game. I get it. But you can't always have exactly what you want. If there is a player that is a former second-round pick that exhibits second-round pick talent, and has throughout his career at times been unbelievable, and I'll tell you what I mean coming up here in just a little bit, you go out and you get him because the Patriots are now the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they are heavily one-sided in the passing game. The Broncos need firepower. So if you had to grade the Elijah Moore signing, what would you give it? I'd give it a solid B. I think it's a really good signing. I don't think that he's going to be a player that for the remainder of the season is that missing link that the Broncos needed. But I do think it's that little extra gravy on top, that little extra cherry on top. Not just for himself, but for another wide receiver. And coming up next, I'm going to tell you that wide receiver that I believe this impacts the most. And his name is not Elijah Moore. Before I do that, I got to tell you about our friends over at PrizePicks. The weather has officially changed, my friends, but the feeling of being right, it never, ever gets old. With the holiday season officially here, everything is happening all at once. The basketball season has started. Football playoffs are coming up. And while you and I are making decisions every single day about what to eat, what presents to get, which games to watch, there is one place where it's good to be right, and that is PrizePicks. There's a brand new feature out called Early Payouts. So essentially what that means is even if your picks are still humming along, you can absolutely get your money instantly and cash out early before any of your games end. How does it work? Takes 30 seconds to make a lineup. You pick your player, you pick the more or the less on their stat projections, and then you watch your money multiply. It really is that easy. So do me a favor, download the app today, use code CLNS to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. Okay, so more on Elijah Moore. Funny enough, last year with the Browns, and he was with the Bills in 2025, but last year was with the Browns, his best game as an NFL player came against the Broncos. With Jameis Winston, he had 8 catches for 111 yards. So there are big play potentials for Elijah Moore and big game potentials. But this isn't about Elijah Moore specifically. It is 80% of the way. The other 20% is about Courtland Sutton. Wait, Moose, how does that make sense? Well, Courtland Sutton's been one of those players that every single Broncos fan, including myself, has been like, hey, can you get open? Can you target Courtland Sutton a little bit more, Bo? Hey, that'd be great. Thanks. He is your number 1 wide receiver after all. And if you look at the last 4 games, these numbers don't pop out at you. These are just the last 4 games. 24 targets, that's 6 a game. 13 receptions, that's 4 a game. 175 yards receiving, that's less than 50 a game. And he's got 2 touchdowns. These are not indicative of a number 1 wide receiver. And I get it. He's not Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or Jackson Smith and Jigba. But he's way better than what he's been showing. And I think what we are seeing now is that as Courtland gets older and goes up against these younger, stronger corners, he's getting bracketed. And when he gets bracketed, Bo's clearly not targeting him because 1, he's got a connection with Troy Franklin, and 2, Troy Franklin's a better route runner. He doesn't have nearly as good a hands as Courtland Sutton does, but he is a better route runner. Courtland Sutton is your silky smooth kind of, up in contention sort of wide receiver that can go up and make those big time plays, whereas Troy Franklin is your 100% pure route runner. He is that route runner on the Broncos. And we've all been asking, like I said, when is Courtland's monster game going to come in? This is now the opportunity for Courtland to have a little bit more of a one-on-one matchup with some weaker level corners. And if not, if they are still going to put that number 1 corner on him, then guess what? Elijah Moore is another body in the slot to kind of take away and get some extra yardage. So it's a win-win situation here, but I do think that this opens up the game a little bit more for Courtland Sutton as well. Elijah Moore, welcome to the Denver Broncos, my friend. It's great to have you, and I cannot wait to see what you look like when you suit up for Mile High. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button. Like today's video if you like the signing. And as always, we're going to be back with more content coming your way later on today. Mile High salutes. Be cool.